Welcome to the podcast, Tricia. I'm so excited to have you today to talk about your entrepreneurial journey and, of course, Clever Baby. So, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you. You have such an interesting professional background and what you're doing now as an entrepreneur. So, can you set the stage for listeners on how you got started as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So that takes us back to 2005, if you can believe it. I started my first business then. It was actually a candle company. We were located in various malls across the United States. And then we shut down in 2008, 2009 when the market crashed. After that, in 2010, we started both a pet care company. When I say we, I mean my husband and I started both a pet care company. And then I started Meyer Law, which is the business law firm that I've had for the past 14 years that I'm still running. And then we sold the pet care company, I think it was in 2014. And then we started the Clever Baby in late 2018, then finally had a product to ship in May 2022. So there's quite a big gap there from the moment that we thought of the product idea to when we actually had it in the market to ship. And the
Mhm.
Clever Baby was actually just selected to be part of Target's Forward Founders Accelerator program. So we participated in that at the end of last year. And we are on the cusp of getting into mass retail and mass specialty retail. So we are really excited
Yeah.
about that.
That is so exciting. It just seems like you're getting a lot of momentum. And I am curious, as someone who has a legal background and has really found that to be so helpful as an entrepreneur, how has that legal background prepared you for entrepreneurship, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's such a great foundation to have. It helps you look at situations kind of from a different lens. I think it's also important when you're counseling people as a lawyer to look at people's risk tolerance. So I think that has something to do with it as well. So whenever I'm counseling clients on the legal side of things, I think it's always important to understand what their risk tolerance is. We have some clients that are super risk averse, and we counsel them in one way. We have others that aren't so risk averse that yeah, we'll let them know all of the risks, but we already know what their position is going to be just based on that tolerance level. So I think understanding that, understanding the legal nuances of things that can happen and really the framework that you need in order to protect your business as you're starting and growing, I just think it's priceless really to have that foundation and
Yeah.
that perspective.
Yeah, so I just love to highlight, when you can tap into a career or skills that you already have, if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, don't think that you're just shifting gears and leaving behind your experience. You're definitely utilizing that to go forward. So you mentioned a clever baby, and I think that it's really disrupting the parenting space with an innovative product. So can you tell us about Jet and how it is making a difference in the parenting space?
Yeah, so Jet is our first product. It is a teether and a dispenser in one. The plane shaped teether is removable, so you can pop it off the dispenser. It's the perfect shape for the baby to grasp and get relief to those back teeth. You can chill it for that added comfort. You can use Jet to not only provide medicine to little ones, which sometimes is really challenging, but also to feed baby food purees. Medicine dispensing, we also have teaspoon and milliliter markings on the dispenser, which makes it easy for parents. I know oftentimes they're not quite sure the conversions from milliliters to teaspoons. And sometimes you've got the information on the bottle for one and not the other, making it easy and making it a nice distraction for kids when you are trying to give that medicine. And then as far as baby food purees, more nutrients are making it to the baby's mouth. You can track how much the baby's actually eating. And it's so much fun because it's the plane shaped, here comes the
Mhm.
plane. And so I will say though, it doesn't obviously replace traditional utensils, right? The
Mhm.
baby needs to learn how to use spoons and forks. But if you need
Sure.
to feed with less mess or, on the go, Jet makes it so much easier.
Yeah, there's so many situations that I can reflect back on where I wish I had this.
Yes, we
My
hear that
kids were
all the
younger.
time. Yes,
But
absolutely.
I mean,
It is like we are creating a new baby product category with Jet, and it's exciting. It's exciting.
yes, it is really exciting. And anything that can make parenting easier.
Yes, 100%.
That is awesome. So you mentioned Target's Forward Founders Accelerator. Can you tell us about that and how you were chosen from 5,000 applicants and what that is meaning for your business?
Yes, I mean, that was such an incredible experience. I'm so grateful that we were chosen out of that many applicants. I mean, what an honor.
Right.
And then just to have, the guidance from Target
Mhm.
and, their accelerator program, and to be able to have that knowledge of what you need to know in order to get into mass retail, and then creating those connections that they provide for you throughout the program. It's just so invaluable. Like, I
Mhm.
just it was really truly a life-changing experience. Out of the 2
Mhm.
decades of my professional life, it really has been the best experience of my professional career.
Yeah, and I don't know, I really love it from like a creative marketing standpoint. Not only are you learning, but you're now being able to connect yourself with this mega retailer. And
Right,
I don't think that businesses often think about using another audience or, finding a way like being part of an accelerator to really get this momentum for their business.
right. I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, I'm a big believer in leveraging every opportunity that you can. And so
Hmm.
this is just really an example of that. And we were just so
Right.
lucky enough to be chosen.
Yes. No, totally. That word leverage is something that I think a lot of people don't think about when they're able to just kind of skyrocket things when they kind of can stand on the shoulders of maybe work that other businesses have done too with collaboration and things like that. So that's just a really great reminder. So, innovation in the parenting space, I'm sure, is tough. How are you guys able to keep things fresh and new?
Yes, no, that is a great question. I mean, I will say with 6 kids, I have 6 kids. They
I
range in
know
age
we
from,
forgot to mention that. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, you're doing this in the midst of having six children.
Yes, and they range in age from 6 to 15 at this time. And yeah, I mean, we no doubt have a lot of experience with a lot of different kind of situations and problems that we want to solve. And so
Mhm.
Jet is just an example of that, but we definitely have so many other ideas of
Mhm.
problems that we have the solution for. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of allocating our time. And soon
Right.
enough, here we are going to be coming to market with some additional products that will make parents' lives easier and bring joy and magical moments to little ones, because those are really our two markers: making parents' lives easier and then bringing those magical moments to the little ones, because those are the moments that they remember. And
Mhm.
so we're really excited to roll out some new products that are in the
Mhm.
works right now, that are innovative, that don't exist on the market today, that follow those two kind of pillars.
Nice. And with six children, I'm sure you have a lot of experiences to call upon.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh gosh. So you have been part of a lot of accelerators, and I want to talk about that. But, we were chatting before we started this interview, and I'm often one of those people that raises eyebrows. You're doing what? How many businesses do you have? What is happening? And you kind of, made to feel bad for quote unquote doing too much or doing a lot. So I would love to hear from you, someone who is also maximizing their time and their potential and their abilities. What are those characteristics that you find that are kind of common among high performing entrepreneurs?
Yeah, great question. So I feel like you have to be a realistic optimist, right? You have to be optimistic, but you also have to be realistic. You
Right.
can't, have your blinders on. I think it's really important to look through that lens. You have to have optimism, because there's going to be times when nobody's believing in you or what you're doing. And so you still have to kind of trudge through that and know and believe in what you're doing and why you're doing it and all of those things. So I think realistic optimism is so important. I think you have to also embrace the feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing right now. You are going to get to the other side of that. I promise you. just, again, leverage resources that are available to you and connections that are available to you to help make, informed so you can get past whatever it is that's kind of holding you up or feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'm doing or where to start. I also think it's so important to create your own opportunities. I have been one of those people who I feel I've done a good job at doing that. I'm not one to kind of sit back and wait for opportunities to fall in my lap. Those things will serendipitously happen as you are, running your business. But I think it's so important to get out there and really kind of create your own opportunities. And then lastly, I'll say, then I'll stop talking on this question, is I think it's to be mindful of your time, leverage your resources, leverage your team, be mindful of what you're spending your time on. If you can delegate that to somebody else and you can use your time in a more beneficial way, then do that and be really mindful of that because you can't turn the clock back. You only, have one, you can't turn the clock back, and
Right.
time is your most important asset. And so just making sure that you're being mindful and looking at how you're leveraging your situation and your time is so important.
No, I definitely agree with all of those things. And again, the word leverage, it's so important. And so I'm glad you're bringing that up because it's definitely, we can make our lives easier. It doesn't have to be hard. And we kind of
100%.
get really stuck in that mindset where it has to be hard. I have to work, you know,
Yeah,
really,
no, and
really
I think
hard.
sometimes you can get caught on almost like a hamster wheel where you're like
Hmm.
feverishly moving from one thing to the next, but you just have to stop and be like, wait a minute, do I really need to be working on all these things?
Hmm.
Or can I have somebody on the team help me?
Hmm.
And just again, making sure you're spending your time on the right things because you can
Yes.
waste a lot of time.
Hmm. No, that's so true. Yeah, I mentioned that you have worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and accelerators and coached them. So, what are some of those common challenges that you see that entrepreneurs kind of run against? And especially as mom entrepreneurs, what are some of those things and how maybe can we head them off or deal with them better?
Yeah, I think oftentimes people just don't know even where to start. They've got a great idea for something, but they
Oh,
just
yeah.
know how to get it moving. And, to your point of incubators and accelerators, that is a great place to start because they have the
Mm,
educational resources necessary, they have connections necessary, workshops, other one-on-one office hours where you can get your questions answered and then be able to move your business forward. So I think finding resources like that who can help you, it's super important. I think oftentimes people don't know where to allocate their time or their resources or, things of that nature. So I think leaning on people who've been there and done that, I think that's really important as well. I think people don't ask enough as well. I think people are afraid to ask. Maybe they
mhm,
think they'll look stupid or they don't know who to ask. But again, I think finding your way and asking it's very powerful.
mm,
And then not standing in their way. I feel like people make a lot of excuses. I can't do this because I don't have enough money. I don't know the right people. I don't, whatever. I don't have the time. I think if it's something that you truly want to, don't stand in your way. Figure out little by little how you're going to make it happen. I think, also being realistic about not every day is going to be the easiest, but knowing that tomorrow's another day. And if you're
mhm,
doing something you truly love, it's worth it in the long run. So I think
mhm,
not standing in your way, finding the right resources to move things forward is
mhm.
most important.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I imagine that in developing clever baby products, maybe with a manufacturer or, an investor or something like that, you've heard no's, right?
So many no's. I mean, to find the manufacturer, it took us so long to find a manufacturer that first worked with baby products
Hmm.
and then were willing to take a chance on a startup and do a
Hmm.
smaller production run
Hmm.
because we're not looking for 50,000 jets out of the gate, you
Hmm.
know? So
Right.
finding the right partner who's aligned with you and your interests and your needs at that time as you are such an early stage company, I think it's really important, but sometimes it's really hard to find. Yes, you have to go through a lot of no's before you get that yes.
Hmm. Yeah, and I loved I had an inventor on the podcast and she had this really great simple solution in that she would ask why, and try to use that to improve her submission next time or how she pitched herself the next time. So, like you said earlier, just asking questions. And if
Right.
you're hitting those hurdles and if there's somebody you can ask why from, and not going it alone. I think so many people think that just because they have Google, they should use Google or
Right.
they can somehow go to YouTube University and figure it all out. And that might happen, but I think at best it's going to take you much, much longer.
Yes, and then I'll also say to that point, to the Googling is a lot of people do that with their contracts for their business, or they don't realize they need a contract for their business. And it's
Hmm.
you are entering into a relationship with a third party to have them help you with your business, you need a contract, period. If
Hmm.
you're building some online site, some SaaS platform, a mobile application, whatever, providing, consulting services, you need different contracts in place for the different relationships within your business. And
Hmm.
it's not a one size fits all thing where you can go to Google and search in, your competitors and pull their terms of use or their privacy policy or, borrow your contract
Yeah.
your agreement from your friend because your agreements need to reflect your business. And I think oftentimes people don't realize that the devil is in the detail. And if you don't have the specifics relevant for your company and industry and reflecting your risk tolerance, like I mentioned
Hmm.
earlier, you're
Right.
not going to be protecting your business like you should be. And you're going to be taking on unnecessary risks that you probably don't even know you're taking on. So
Right.
I think that's really important to look at as well as a business owner.
Yeah. And so does Meyer Law do any of that for
Oh, we do.
entrepreneurs? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
that's
do.
super awesome. That's wonderful. So we'll definitely leave information in the show notes for that. If anybody is, I need those contracts and things in place. That's wonderful. That's a great resource.
I'll say one more thing to that end is we also have a free request a roadmap because sometimes people, again, like I mentioned before, they just don't know what they need. And
Right.
so you go through a series of questions and then we provide you with a roadmap of the things that you should be considering from a legal standpoint based on the areas that we practice. And so if anyone's out there trying to figure out, I don't even know where to start from a legal standpoint, that will be a good link for you to have in the show notes because then they can go there and figure it out and get that roadmap. That is so helpful.
Wonderful. That's just really wonderful because, like you said, people just don't know what they need. So they just kind of like hope for the best and
Right.
figure
Right.
it out at the wrong point in the when things
Right.
go wrong.
Yeah, right. Trying to clean up a mess with no backing or foundation. It's
Right.
rough. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So, do you have any advice that you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs, especially mom entrepreneurs who are listening to this and going, okay, this is something I want to do, or they want to develop something that's got some traction?
Yes, I would say do it. It's a simple answer, but just do
Yes.
it. Find your resources, find your squad, and just make it happen. I mean, as crazy as my life is running two businesses and having six kids and all of that, like I really wouldn't change it for the world. So, and so long as you think that's right for your situation and truly something you're passionate about and what you want to, don't stand in your own way and just do it. Make it happen.
Yeah. And so you talked about managing a couple of businesses and six kids. So, how is it that you keep your sanity in the midst of that and take care of yourself?
Yeah, I think, we spend a lot of time together with my kids being so close in age. We do spend a lot of time together. So I think that's always fun.
Mhm.
Summer's right around the corner. So we'll be going to the beach a lot, which is really great. I think that's really my best way. And, being outside in nature, hiking, biking, you know, spending time at the beach with the family. Those are the ways that I kind of recharge my battery.
Mhm.
Um, so that's how I do it. And then, as far as time goes, I just make sure that I'm leveraging my team and my calendar, making sure that I'm staying true to my calendar, I think, is one of the most important things you can do as a mom entrepreneur, is just allocating time for certain things, knowing it might need to change every now and then, being okay with that change, being flexible with that change, not getting too down on yourself, giving yourself grace,
Right.
as you are running a family and a business. And I think that's really important, though, is just figuring out what makes sense from a calendar and time standpoint and then trying to stick.
And honestly, I think that is one of the things as a mom that probably prepares you best for entrepreneurship is, things with kids always change. They are
Right.
very unpredictable. And as entrepreneurs, you have to really get comfortable with the uncomfortable and the
Yeah,
unpredictable and the
that's right.
change. And so I love that you brought that up because I also too to highlight things that we do as moms that really prepare us for entrepreneurship because so many people think because I'm a mom, I can't be an entrepreneur. But that there's nothing further from the truth. It actually really prepares you well.
It does.
Yeah. What takeaways for listeners do you want them to get from our conversation? If maybe one or a few things stuck with them to kind of leave them with a little mental nugget from the.
Yeah, I think, if there is something that you truly want to do, you can figure out how to make it happen. As I mentioned earlier, not every day is going to be easy, but if you're doing something you enjoy, it will be all worth it.
Mhm.
Don't stand in your way and make it happen.
Right. Yeah, time and time again, despite the busy schedule that maybe entrepreneurship might bring you, it's really the fulfillment that you get from the product or the service or the impact that you're having, or if you're lucky, all three of those things.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And it's all about loving what you do. I hate when I
Right.
hear people who've been stuck in a job that they don't enjoy, or they're just,
Mhm.
going in robotic mode, just going to the office. And as I say, making the donuts, where they're just
Mhm.
going in every day and just doing the work to just get it over with, to then I just would hate to live life that way. Me
Right.
personally, like
Right.
you only live once, life's way too short, and you should really be doing something you love every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just love how you're serving other entrepreneurs from a legal perspective, and then you're also sharing these wonderful products with families to make their lives better. So, thank you so much for sharing your insight, and we're so excited to see what happens for Clever Baby and all the things to come. So, where can listeners connect with you and learn more about Meyer Law and Clever Baby?
Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn, Tricia Meyer, TriciaMeyer, or on TikTok. You can find Meyer Law, or TikTok and Instagram, Meyer Law. Our handle is Love Your Lawyer. And for the Clever Baby, TikTok is the Clever Baby, Instagram is the Clever Baby Adventures. And then if you want to see behind the scenes of my family, you can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Meet the Meyer Crew, but there are underscores between each of those words. And I will provide those
Got
links
it.
for you so you can put it in.
Yeah, we'll definitely include all of those. Thanks so much, Trisha, for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us today.
Yeah, I so appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's been
Yeah.
great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.